Hey Internet, I'm Simon Squibb, your host at the Good Luck Club. I believe luck is an ingredient that's necessary for a successful life. Whatever you're starting, building or shipping, I'm here to tell you, without luck, you're not going to make it. I've been testing my luck as an entrepreneur since I was 15 years old. I've had plenty of failures and successes, and I'm fascinated by the things I couldn't control. In each episode, I'll invite a guest to share their stories about luck, the good and bad, and together we'll test my theory about luck's role. Our guest today is Damien Nicol. He is the founder of one of London's leading osteopathic centres called Back and Active. Like all entrepreneurs, he never limits himself to his day job, which he's still very passionate about after 17 years of building up his centre. In every spare moment when he is not taking the kids to school or working to help clients feel less pain, he develops property and jokes that he likes to put his back into it. That's an osteo joke, folks. I wanted to interview Damien for many reasons, but a big one for me is because he claims to have mastered the ability to have a work-life balance. And given all he does, I'm amazed and wondered how and what that perhaps means in this day and age. So Damien, welcome.
Hi there, good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem. Thank you very much for giving up your time. I'd like to start off the podcast by asking this question about what does success mean to you? A lot of people have a lot of opinions about what success means, but I always like to get it from my guests, what their view on success is.
Yes, well, at the moment, probably success to me is getting my 11-year-old daughter out of bed in the morning, ready for school.
Wow, that is not an easy task.
That's quite effort, but seriously, I think it's, I've given it a lot of thought. I think it's time, isn't it? That's the main thing. You know, it's being in control of your time, and I think that's sort of, you know, you can go lots of different ways, but it's being in control of that. That's sort of the ultimate luxury to me. You know, being able to do what you want when you want, and not having to, you know, struggle to fit that in. And we've worked quite hard to do that, really. You know, get the kids and obviously have enough money and do everything we want. But I think we've got a good balance there. So I think that's more than sort of like a number or you know, items. It's more the time. You know, it's you can't get that back, right? So
No, I think I couldn't agree more. Time-wise, entrepreneurs really struggle with this, though, don't they? I mean, as an entrepreneur, a lot of the time, you know, time is you know, applied to your business, and therefore, are you in control of it?
Well, I mean, it's in the way that I can schedule when I want to work. Like I said, this afternoon, I've took this afternoon off to come and see Good Self. Whereas if I was working for someone else, maybe I wouldn't be able to do that. And it's fitting in all the stuff with the children as well. You know, I can take them to school in the morning, I drop them off, I go and pick them up. You know, if they want to go play tennis, I can go see them at tennis. So I can schedule everything around that. And that's quite important for me while they're young.
I think that's a good pitch as well, as a reason to become an entrepreneur.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. So you know, we're in complete control of our business, so it's you know, we can do that. Obviously, don't want to let patients down. And got to get the money in, but you know, it's we have scheduled times where we have clinics, and that's what we stick to. So,
what about when you were younger? When you started out, I guess in your kind of conscious years, how did you feel? Did you view success differently back then? How was your view on success back then?
Yeah, it's all the bells and whistles, isn't it? You want all the toys and, you know, nice watches, cars, big houses, all that sort of stuff. And I suppose, you know, it's still nice, isn't it? It's still nice to have, but you know, it's not really what I think you should be aiming for, because that stuff will come if, you know, if you're good at what you do, or you put the time in or the effort or whatever. I think you've got to focus on your lifestyle. I think that's
how do you for our listeners out there that are young and starting out and ambitious, they see all this social media stuff with people driving Lamborghinis, and it's called flexing. You know, and how do you know, what would your advice be to those younger people? I mean, back to your younger self then. I mean, how do you handle that pressure?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I always say to my daughter, because she says these sort of things, because she's on TikTok and all these sort of things, and I wonder how many people actually own it. How you know, is it theirs, or have they rented it, or have they borrowed it off a friend, or have they put
stolen it,
or have they put like literally everything they've got into that Rolex watch and they're paying it off for the next 10 months or whatever it is,
or
10 years.
The comments I see when people are flexing with their Lamborghinis is, you know, give your car back to mummy and daddy, you know.
Well, there you go. You know, I think people are probably trying the hardest to look rich rather than doing the stuff to become rich or successful, which I think is sort of style over substance. Maybe not everybody, but it seems to be.
Was there a moment in your, I guess, growing up years that you changed? Was it switch flip, or was it, for example, when your kids came along? What?
I suppose I've always known I'd probably have to work for myself. I'm not very good with sort of authority, so I knew I'd have to sort of be my own boss. And
that's good self-awareness. When did you realise that?
I suppose at school, I was always okay at school, but I never sort of was like an A student or anything like that. But could always do enough to get through. Always got asked the question in class and know the answer, so they'd sort of leave you alone because they knew you knew your business and you just got on with it. So, but never like a perfect student or anything. And then we went into all the science stuff as well. So I did 2 degrees. So I got 2 degrees in sports science and osteopathic medicine. And sort of snowballed from there.
You did quite well in school. You got 2 degrees.
I never meant to. That's the thing. It was
by accident, was it?
It was an accident. I wasn't going to go to university at all. And then I went around my friend's house. He was going through clearing at the time, and his dad was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm not going to go. I'm going to go do something else." And he was like, "Oh, just put the application in and see what you do." And I did, and I got in and went, and then that was it. But so I suppose that's a bit of luck or serendipity, or if I hadn't gone around to my mate's house that day, maybe I wouldn't have had, that foot in the door for the education. Certainly wouldn't be an osteopath.
This is a theme I've noticed in the interviews I've done so far. There seems to be 1 or 2 people that influence people's lives in quite dramatic ways in the early years. And there seems to be a story every time where someone has met someone that's altered their direction quite dramatically. Sounds like that was one of those moments for you. By accident, he said, submit and get involved. The next thing you know, you've got 2 degrees and you're a trained, very experienced, very well-respected osteopath.
Yes, well, that's something you certainly can't do without. So I wonder what I'd be doing now.
Well, yeah. Do you ever wonder? Do you actually wonder?
Yes, I suppose I would be doing so. I would be probably working for myself, but I suppose that's the thing now. It's when I first went to university, so it was like 1998. Not everybody had mobile phones. It wasn't like everybody had one. I remember going to buy one and thinking, I've only got a couple of mates who've got them, so I won't bother.
You're sounding like you're 80 something.
I know, yeah, but
you're not.
That was before the sort of massive digital age. But now, my daughter, she's set up the slime thing. She can go on TikTok, she can post it. It's straight out there, so it's very different now. So.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, what would your daughter's definition of success be for her business, do you think? I mean, she's Damien's
you'll have to get her on, she'll shout at me.
Okay, right, fair enough, I will get her on. I'd be very interested about that.
She'd probably say shopping in Selfridges.
Well, shopping in Selfridges, or people buy her products in Selfridges, even better.
Yes, that'll be good, yes.
Yeah. But what do you think about luck as a concept? What's your view on luck?
Yeah, I struggle with this because I come from a sort of scientific background, so it's more sort of. Have you look almost? It's things like. Have you read a book by Tim Grover? And he talks about things like intangibles and things that you can't measure. So you can't like get an MRI for how frightened you are, or how much commitment you put in, or how much anxiety you've got. And I think it's the intangibles that sort of make you look. You put yourself in certain environments, you meet certain sort of people, you go to certain places, and then your commitment, all that sort of stuff starts to kick in. And I think that's more for me what I think luck is. You sort of don't. I think everyone says you create your own luck. I think it's more like, say, the intangibles. How much dedication you've got to doing something, because you can't measure that. There's no scan you can get. You can't see it. You have to. It's just something you're doing. How scared you are about something. You can't measure these things, and I think that's quite important for serendipity or luck or whatever you want to call it. But,
do you think in your life you've had luck, or I'd be really interested in maybe a story about some bad luck or good luck that's happened to you?
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I suppose. I struggle to think of it in those sort of terms.
Well, maybe one way. I mean, your clinic works on a lot of people that have injuries.
Yes.
Now, I see injuries as a good example of how you can have bad luck. You didn't put yourself in that position. You didn't hurt. You didn't want that injury. If you've got a famous footballer and they get an injury, and they got another famous footballer doesn't get an injury at all, he can go on to have a career for the next 10 years, but the guy just had an injury, has to stop there and then. It wasn't his fault. He probably ate the same food as the guy he was training with. He ate the same trainer. One was lucky and one wasn't. That's a very common story in sports, and you're seeing these sorts of people all the time, right? So
yes.
Do you see that being a luck, or you think it's all their own fault?
No. See, I always think of myself as a fixer putting out fires. So if something's gone wrong, it's sort of, what could you have done different? What didn't you do? Is there something missing? Like the injury, for instance, maybe they weren't hydrated that day. Maybe they, didn't do their stretch that they should have done. They went out drinking the night before, whatever it might be. There's always
Do you
something.
think it's all preventable? All of these injuries are preventable, or it's just a matter of it's going to happen no matter what sometimes?
I think it is. You can totally manage it. You totally can, but you do have to be switched onto it. You have to be aware of it. You can't just sort of, go through just a basic for everybody, But it certainly, it can be, that's what.
But equally, I mean, you're in the business of helping people fix injuries, but from an outside perspective, I look at someone like let's say a professional footballer who gets an injury. My instinct is that they were probably properly hydrated, they were eating properly, they got trainers helping them stretch and warm up, yet they get these injuries. Or another player runs into them, and they get an injury and they're out. So surely these things are unlucky moments, right? I mean, there's nothing you can do if someone runs into you and breaks your leg or whatever, right?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's sort of some unavoidable things, but maybe they should have done more proprioceptive work or more speed training or whatever.
Right, no, it's an interesting point of view.
There's always, you never say 100% or an absolute, but there's if it happens, I imagine, especially a professional athlete, he would go back and he would go, right, so I wasn't quick enough to get out of the way of that tackle. So when I get back, that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on speed, proprioception, whatever it might be, plyometrics. And it's a bit like, I suppose Kobe Bryant's a good example. The guy who just died in a plane crash. He just was like work the whole time. He would outwork everybody, so he wouldn't leave things like that to chance. And I think he's quite an extreme example, but.
Well, that's a very, very sad story, of course.
Yes,
but I also look at it like, here's a man who was so lucky he could afford his own private helicopter. But equally, having your own private helicopter comes with some sort of counterbalance in life, doesn't it? There was a hard moment. I think that's bad luck. Good luck and bad luck in someone's life. I have this theory it's a little bit of a counterbalance, I guess is what I'm saying. Is, if you have lots of good luck, at some point you also need to have a counterbalance and some bad luck. So having an average amount of luck and an average amount of bad luck can somehow be beneficial. I don't know what you think of that.
No, it's tricky. It's tricky. Like I say, I struggle to think about it in those sort of terms, but it's certainly good.
Your scientific mind lets you look at it so clinically.
I always think there's something else that wasn't done or could be done or could be changed or whatever.
But, I mean, again, it's an interesting subject. Though I have this podcast is partly to debate this. Is if in the Second World War, at the end of the Second World War, America dropped nuclear bombs on cities in Japan, and of course some people died instantly, but the nuclear fallout hit people outside the cities for the next 10-15 years, and they got sick. I mean, that's not their fault, right? There's nothing they could have done to stop that. That's just bad luck that you were living in that city at that time when America decided to drop a nuclear bomb.
Absolutely. I suppose it's the same with certain conditions where you can get medical conditions that are genetic, like Huntington's disease.
Right.
There's nothing you can do about that.
You were born with it. It's just,
and there's no way you can change that. So
I guess what you're saying is you can manage your luck. You can manage your good luck or bad luck around that particular issue. That's kind of what you're saying.
Once you're involved in the equation. But
it's very interesting. In your businesses, I mean, you've of course you've got the very successful clinic, as I mentioned in the intro, and you also develop properties on the side. Do you think there was a big break in your business to make you the success that you've been, or do you think it was just perseverance?
I think, if I'm honest, it was when we found out we were pregnant with my first daughter. And I was working for a lot of different clinics. We were in the process of, we were actually looking to buy 2 existing clinics at the time. And then we found out we were pregnant. And we just decided, look, we're just going to, no crutches. We're going to do it all ourselves. We want total control. Obviously we've got a family coming. I was giving half my money away to the clinics I was working at as well. So as soon as we did that, I worked less hard and doubled my money almost straight away. Wow. Because we did have a business at the time, but we were working mainly for others. So.
That's a very interesting insight. I want to pick up on that point. You worked less hard but earned more money.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people have the misconception: the harder you work, the luckier you get. You see.
Well, in that situation, it was totally true. I was seeing, I was travelling for like 2 or 3 hours to work, seeing 20 patients, travelling 2 or 3 hours back, giving 50% of my income to that clinic.
So you cut all of that out. Your travel time cut down. Then you spend more time with patients.
So now it's 5 minutes to work.
Right.
And I get 100% of what I earn.
Right.
It was a great change. But that was the catalyst once we found out, because it was a little bit unexpected for us. And as soon as that happened, we just cut everything out and just focused completely on our business, and that was it.
And what about the the let's call it the side hustle, the property development business.
Yes.
Was it just a hobby that got out of control, or what?
No, it's something I've been interested in, and we haven't done anyone for a while now. But that's something that is, I do love it. It's exciting, that one, but it's a very different sort of business. Very different types of people. In my osteopathy, it's all very caring and lovely, and the other one is a bit more cutthroat, and
right.
So it's a challenge to sort of jump from one to the other.
Do you think that's why you like it, because it's so different to your day business?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, and it's different because I suppose with osteopathy you're working by yourself with a patient as well, whereas that obviously you need a team of people, and you have to work with others to get stuff done as well, so it's different from that aspect, and it's interesting.
And you work indirectly with your wife as well, right? I mean, she works in the clinic too.
She's an osteopath at the same clinic, and she's a paediatric osteopath, so we manage that time.
So a lot of people out there work with their partners, or want to work with their partners, or you're like a team at home, right? If you've got a family, you're working together, looking after your kids. So there's also I feel like a potential for people to go and start businesses with their partners. Would you give any advice to people thinking about doing that? What sort of advice would you give?
Make sure you can work together, because that's a good one. But I suppose with me and Camilla, because obviously when she's in clinic, I'll be with the kids or something like that. So it's almost like we're sort of ships of the night passing at work. So it's not that bad. But I would be organised, I think.
Right.
Trying to be diplomatic here.
You're doing a good job. Be organised. That's a good tip for the listeners out there. Be organised and be in love, right? If you're in love deeply, you can work it all out.
Start from that point.
Right. But you're when you're looking back and perhaps thinking about giving some advice to your younger self, I always like to ask this question. If you went back and asked gave yourself younger self some advice, what would it be? What would you like to say to that person?
I mean, just get cracking, do things now, because you will run out of time. Now, I've just started doing jiu-jitsu, and I love it, but I wish I'd started 20 years ago. Just, it takes an hour and a half to do, you've got to take the time out, more injuries. But when you're younger, you don't have the commitments, so you've got this time to do stuff and learn these sort of skills.
Why didn't you do jiu-jitsu when you were younger? What?
I said it's a really good question. I wish I had now, because it really hurts.
It really hurts. But I bet it hurts. It hurts when you're young too, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I suppose you bounce back a bit quicker. And
just drink more water. I know a good osteopath that can help you with this.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, you have to give me that number. But yes, I think just do stuff now. Just get on with it. Don't waste your time. Learn some skills. Be busy, do some stuff, just get out there, try some stuff. And
do you encourage? I know I will get your daughter on. I'm very interested in talking to young entrepreneurs. But do you think you've encouraged your children to be entrepreneurs, or it's happened by accident? What's?
Obviously, they see it. But yeah, I do encourage it. I think it's a great thing to do. I would never want to work for somebody else. Maybe go into business with somebody else, but not. I just don't think that way. And
it's interesting because I recently did a post saying that you shouldn't work for someone else, and I got quite a lot of negative comments on it.
Really?
I got positive as well, but the negative comments were interesting, where people are basically saying that someone's got to work for someone. Someone's got to work for the council to pick up our rubbish, for example, or someone's got to work for the bus company to drive our buses. It's kind of an interesting thing if we pitch, and I'm like this too, so I'm just interested. Working for yourself is our view. Is it necessarily the same for our kids?
No. I mean, you got to find your passion and find what you want to do, what you're interested in, and if that means working with someone else, that's fine as well. But it's I couldn't envisage actually doing it myself. So, and I think Sophie, my oldest daughter, I think she's sort of picking up on that, and she's made a few quid, made about 500 quid with her slime.
Oh, really? Wow! Wow! So you're gonna be retiring soon.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. She might buy a helicopter. You never know.
Well, yeah, no, don't buy a helicopter. I don't think she needs a helicopter. Well, look, I want to thank you for coming in today and sharing your insights. I'd actually like to jump on YouTube now and let's have a little chat about how to build a business. And we can talk a bit about that, because you built your practice up. I think a lot of people would like to know how to build a business up and gain some insights from you there, but I don't want the podcast to go on too long, so we'll jump over to YouTube. So anyone wants to hear more from Damien, we'll be on YouTube after this. I just want to sum up what I've taken from your insights today. Basically, be in control of your time. I think that's a really good marker for success. I think that's a really interesting way of explaining success. I think if people use that as a bit of a benchmark, they'd have a happier life if they overrode the need for money and all those sorts of things and just focused on getting back their time. I think managing your luck is an interesting insight. I debated it with you, but I actually agree with you. I think you can manage a lot of your downside. Part of my pitch is luck is a skill, and I think you can manage your bad luck and good luck if you're careful. And so thank you so much for sharing these insights with us today and being our guest on Good Luck.
Thanks for having me.